Hi, my name's Brian Osborne, and I've just met Frank and Angie.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
And they're the authors of the Ecuador Do-It-Yourself Landing Guide that's available at their blog and their website. And I purchased it because I just moved to Ecuador, but I purchased it before I left because there's a lot of good information that's in it that you're going to need before you go. So make sure you get it. I waited until almost the last minute, 3 weeks before I left, and that was almost a mistake. So listen, if you're thinking about coming to Ecuador, even on a vacation, I would recommend getting the landing guide because you're going to find stuff in the landing guide that'll help you even enjoy this country for the short time that you're here on a vacation. But if you're moving here, it's a vital necessity to have it. When you land in Ecuador and you don't speak any Spanish and you've never really traveled outside of the United States like me, you go into a sensory overload. And so when you get in a taxi or someone comes and picks you up, the streets and navigating around the streets and everything, it's like, whoa, you know, where am I going? And I hope these people know where they're going to. But
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming, but the landing guide helps with the overwhelming. You're going to be overwhelmed with or without the landing guide. Of course, you'll have it because you're smart and you're going to get it like me. One of the things I like most about the landing guide is that Frank and Angie have put some of their favorite restaurants and other places, museums to go visit, and you may be able to find that stuff on the internet, but the landing guide puts it all into one nice, neat little package.
Sure, yeah, it's convenient.
How do you have the landing guide? Did you download it onto your Kindle?
Because the landing guide is an electronic version, there are several ways you can do it. I've had it on my smartphone before I left. I've had it on my iPod, my iPad, my normal computer. I put it everywhere I may need it to where I could pull it up.
You were thinking
Great.
ahead.
See.
That's great, because I know a lot of people download it into their documents onto their Kindle, and then there it is, and I've seen it on their Kindle. It looks just like the book. I mean, it opens up on their Kindle as a book.
Yeah, I really can't thank you two enough for making that document.
You're welcome.
I mean, that's how important it is to me.
Okay.
Did you want to say anything about your hurricane thing that you do?
So that you know who I am from America, my name is Brian Osborne, and you can Google me on the internet and you're going to find me in hurricanes. I'm a storm chaser, and I was chasing hurricanes when I was a very young man, before the technology could survive in a hurricane. So I would just be in a hurricane to be in a hurricane. And it was during those experiences in my youth that I learned not how to get hurt or dead in a hurricane. Exactly. And so once I got older and the technology kept caught up to me, I was able to live stream my hurricane chases on the internet, and you're going to find them everywhere on the internet, YouTube, Ustream, and but there'll be no Moss, no more. I'm retired and living in Ecuador now.
Well, you have to be retired. There isn't hurricanes in Ecuador.
I know, but there is an interesting feature here in Ecuador, and we're sort of experiencing it every day, and it's the Intertropical Convergence Zone, the ITCZ.
Oh.
The Intertropical Convergence Zone is right above us. It's where the weather of the northern hemisphere interacts with the weather of the southern hemisphere, and there's a band of weather that circles the globe.
Weather,
and there's always weather in Ecuador. So I love rain. It rains in Ecuador.
It's all about the weather, and
yes, if Ecuador was a woman, I would ask Ecuador to marry me.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, well, great.
I'm staying in Ecuador. This is my new home. This is my nueva familia.
Oh.
And this is Señor Oso, Spanish. Okay, so Mr. Señor Oso, Mr. Bear.
Oh, he's so cute.
Isn't he cute?
He's darling. I know that did you use the emailing feature? Did you email in for questions, and how was that?
Yes, I did. one of the things that is important to me is the details, okay? And I will drill and drill and drill and drill until I get to the very bottom of what I think I need to know, okay? Now, there's only so much you can put in a written sentence, and so many words you can use to describe something, but someone creative like me is always going to think of that next question to ask, okay? So Angie and Frank are very wonderful when you purchase the landing guide. I think y'all even answered a couple of my questions even before I purchased it. They answer questions via email. But listen, don't just swamp them with your questions that you have, because I promise you, 99.5% of the questions that you're going to have are answered in the landing guide.
Exactly.
So get the landing guide.
Good point.
Read the landing guide, then ask your questions. There was one time I didn't read. I kind of flew through a chapter too fast, and I asked a question that I should have read.
And were you reminded of that or something?
Yes. Read the landing guide.
Frank
Yeah,
reminds
it's the guide.
people.
Read the landing
Read the guide, dude.
Okay.
Things that is in your landing guide that I kind of want to mention, okay, is being alone in Ecuador, okay? Now, if you're a woman, you may not want to be alone in Ecuador, but if you're fearless like me, okay? But for a guy, no one's really going to bother you, especially if you're big and ugly, okay? It really gets easy here. You know, nobody messes with you.
And if you're handsome, then
What happens?
Well, Frank, I answered that question, won't he?
Thanks for that, but no.
Yeah, but he's
Answer
married.
the question.
Yeah, but he's married.
Y'all make a great
I
couple,
say
too.
nothing, see nothing.
I have two things on my bedside, okay? One is the Bible, all right? And the other is my little laptop, and right on my desktop of the laptop is that landing guide. And I will read one or the other, but one of them's getting read before I go to bed.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, great.
At least while in Ecuador, huh?